Hi everyone, today we're going to be going over League of Their Own and organizational communication. I'm Olivia.
I'm Rosie.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Brandon.
So to start with, how many of you have ever belonged to a sports team or organization or a club? Hopefully everyone in here has belonged to something. Now imagine belonging to the first of its kind and how that would kind of differ with organization. There's no set rules, everything's new. So in this movie, A League of Their Own, it takes place in 1940s during World War II when the professional baseball team almost dismembered because the men were sent off to war. Now instead of dismembering the team in the league, the women took over the entire baseball league, and it was the first of their kind. So everyone in our group has watched this movie several times, and we've gone over the main concepts in regards to A League of Their Own and organizational communication themes. Now although everyone in this classroom might not ever belong to the first ever professional sports team of its kind, like in this movie, we've all experienced belonging to something new, and it's important to pay attention to organizational communication to benefit yourselves and your organization altogether. So today we'll be going over Tuckman's stages of group development according to our textbook and the Human Resource Development Journal. We'll be discussing the stages of forming, norming, storming, performing, and adjourning, and how they're depicted through this film. We will also be including key concepts such as leadership and power. To begin this presentation, we will start with Jacob on the forming stage.
All right, so forming, it has group motivation, group goals, challenges, and what's the last one? Primary intention. To start it, we will watch this first clip where Dodd catches a fastball from one of the fellow teammates.
What are you looking at?
Yeah, what are you looking at? Nothing. Right? Nothing.
All these girls gonna be in the league? You wish.
You do wish.
You're gonna have 4 teams, 16 girls to a team.
That's right. 64 girls. Yeah, what are you, a genius?
You know, they got over 100 girls here, so some of you are gonna have to go home.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh.
Sorry. Those people are jerks.
What do you mean some of us? Okay, some of them are going home.
Hey, how did you do that? Excuse me. Hey, you caught that?
As you see in there, that has primary intention, and primary intention is like where people do not want to actually get in conflict when they first meet each other, but may and doers have another way of doing things. And then with the other video, when they're recruiting Marla Hooch,
We'll let you know.
Let's go. This is the train. Let's go.
Move, move! Can't use her.
She's great. Why not? What's the problem?
Don't you know Omar Bradley?
Yeah.
But there's too strong a resemblance.
You mean I take her because she's pretty?
Well, look who just caught up. All right, come on, let's go. Pick those suitcases up. Now, come on. Come on, kid, let's go. Move. Come on, one foot in front of the other. Huh?
She loves to play. Help me go to your side because I must be rich. Please.
as you can see there, Dottie and Kid are trying to get the best players on the field for the tryout, which is a big challenge because they only want the prettiest girls there. And the group goals are to make the team and then keep the league going because not many people want to actually see girls play baseball in this time period. If you go to the next slide, Brandon. Main challenges is keeping the league open. The Mr. Lowenstein, which is the runner of the league in its whole, and he pushes to keep the league open and make it so that everybody can keep watching baseball as the men are all gone during the war. And then primary tension, the actual definition from the book is the initial jitters and uneasiness felt by individuals when they first join a group. Which in the first video I showed you when May and Doris are throwing the ball at Dottie, they are the totally opposite way. And Kit kind of has the jitters when she asks the question, "What do you mean that some of us?" I'm going to hand it over to Olivia now with norming.
All right, moving on to the norming stage. In this section of the presentation, I'll be going over this stage and break it down into 4 main areas. I'm going to start with explicit and implicit norms, move on to group roles, then team unity, and then last, conformity. So to begin with the norms, explicit and implicit norms, just to give a definition of both. Explicit norms are openly stated and written down. So in this movie, and on the team more specifically, the explicit norms would be that there's no men, no drinking, no smoking. They're required to wear this feminine uniform, and they also have to attend a beauty and refinement school. So those are all openly stated and put out there, and the women are aware of those things. Whereas the implicit norms are not openly stated or written down, but they're kind of learned throughout their time on the team. An example of this would be during one of the games when the team manager, Jimmy, yells at one of the girls and says there's no crying in baseball. Obviously that wasn't written down when they decided to join the team, but they learned that throughout their time and experience on the team. So moving on to group rules. Group rules are also part of the norming stage, and as soon as the team is created, you start to see these rules develop. One of the most obvious rules that's taken on is when Dottie, pictured up here, takes on the stage of the emergent leader. So she takes on this role during the first game when the coach comes in pretty drunk and impaired, and Dottie decides to take matters in her own hand instead of the entire lineup for the team and everything else. And throughout the entire film, you can tell that there's tension between Dottie as the leader versus the other players in the team. So some other roles are May and Doris, which are pictured here, and throughout to the far side. And throughout the film, thank you. Throughout the film, these two are kind of like the lighthearted, the hardworking part of the team, and they're the competitors. They want to get the job done and win the games. And then this character right here, Kit, is Dottie's younger sister, who's also on the team, and she's the contrasting team role character, and she's always questioning her sister's authority. So moving on to team unity. This is a really important stage when it comes to the norming section. It's when the members begin to really mesh and work together. And I have a short clip to show you guys about this stage. I'll explain it after, but we can go ahead and just play it for now.
Cemetery boneyard. I've got your fingers, you never get another hit. Come on, now.
Come on. Off and grab it.
Grab.
Her. Milky. White. Milky white.
May, why should you give her to read? But what difference does it make? She's reading, okay? That's the important thing. Now go away, go. Shoot. Go ahead, shoot.
Milky white. Breath.
It gets really good after that. The literary boy walks in.
Okay, so in this section, we have Meg, the darker hair. She is teaching one of the team members, Shirley, who is illiterate and can't read. She's teaching her how to read on their bus ride to the next game, and that just kind of shows that the team unity is coming together even off the field. They're working together and trying to better themselves just as people. So finally, I have the conformity stage, and conformity is crucial to group work and members But in this movie, in this film, they kind of try to go against the conformity. Now, although they do conform to an extent because they do wear the team uniform and they play and they obey the rules of the league, there are some things they do that go against what they're supposed to. Like they go out to the bar a few times and go and poison their team mom to escape. But I'd say the biggest example of conformity in this movie would be the beauty school that I mentioned earlier. So I just have a short clip that goes over the beauty school and the refinement school they're required to go to.
Soften and shorten. The eyebrows thin and separate. There should be two. Mhm. Very nice. Very nice. Lovely.
What do you suggest?
A lot of night games.
Okay, now obviously this is showing conforming to acting like a lady, like they explained, and also looking like one. So they're conforming their appearance as well as how they act and behave. So that wraps up my section of norming, and we're going to move on to Rosie.
All right, so my section is about storming and conflict. And according to our textbook by J.D. Rothwell, the group development stages don't always necessarily proceed in a linear fashion. So in the context of this movie, the storming stage actually comes after the norming. So Denise Bonebright of the University of Minnesota describes Tuckman's storming stage as a time of intergroup conflict. The phase is characterized by a lack of unity and polarization around interpersonal issues. So overall in this movie, the team as a unit functions relatively well, but their main source of conflict stems from our two main characters who are sisters, Kit and Dottie. So Dottie is an amazing baseball player and she really excels, everybody likes her. And Kit, who is also talented, feels like she's been living in her shadow all her life. So therefore, Kit's style of conflict management in this movie is seen as very competitive because she sometimes puts the needs of the group behind her own needs because she wants to outperform her sister, outshine, and impress everyone. So when Dottie and Kit are playing a specific game sometime in the season, Kit is looking tired, so their coach Jimmy asks Dottie, what do you think? Should we keep her in the game? I want your opinion because Dottie's so good, so he defers to her. So Dottie loves her sister, but she is more task-oriented, so she says, pull her out. And Kit takes great offense to this because she really wanted to stay in the game and show off, even though they might have lost. So after she's pulled out, she lashes out at her teammates and she lashes out at her sister, staying in line with the competitive form of conflict through this clip.
What's the matter, kid? You too big to finish your own games now?
Hey,
Don't start with me, kid. Don't start with me. Don't start!
kid, come on, cut it out.
So as you can see, even though Kit is causing a disturbance among the team members and potentially negative consequences, she's still just thinking about herself and acting kind of childish. And that goes in line with her competitive style and also her role, as Olivia mentioned, as sort of a fighter and controller who just wants things her way. So following this confrontation, Dottie tries to resolve the conflict using avoidant tactics because she doesn't really want to face the problems between her and her sister. So she decides that she wants to leave the league and leave the team because she doesn't really care as much about the game as her sister. But the team manager, Lowenstein, says, no, we'll think of a way to make this right. You have to stay, even though Dottie would rather not face the problem. So she's like, okay, I'll get traded. I won't have to deal with any of this conflict. But instead, her sister, Kit, is the one who gets traded, which ends up causing more conflict as the movie goes on. And now we'll go into leadership and power. So Kit was the logical choice for the team to trade because Dottie was the superior player. They would have never gotten rid of her to avoid that conflict. So Dottie benefits from referent power, according to her textbook, which is when she's earned the respect of her teammates through her performance, and they've gotten to know her and really like her. So that's helped her to become an emergent leader. All of the ladies on the team really respect her athletic skills and her take charge attitude. And although the team does have a designated leader, former baseball player Jimmy Dugan, his tendency to be drunk most of the time prevents really any productive work on the team and leaves sort of an opening for a temporary leader to take his place, and that's where Dottie comes in, as we can see demonstrated in this scene.
Some good opinion.
Hey, Coach. Mr. Dugan, can you sign my husband's baseball card for me?
Hey, great to meet you.
What are we gonna do? He didn't give us the lineup. We can't play without a lineup.
I'll finish. I can finish.
No, I would like to see you.
Come on. How hard can it be to make a lineup? Come on.
Oh, yeah? Well, why don't you do it, Oregon?
Me?
Yeah, you.
All right, May, center field, lead off.
She's good.
So as you can see, the team was thrown into a panic when they didn't know what to do when their designated leader sort of dropped the ball. So Dottie took charge in a time of crisis, which helped her to develop her skills as an emerging leader and helped the team to respect her more and cede to her authority. But eventually, Jimmy does take interest in the girls' skills after seeing them play, and once he develops like a strong enough incentive to reestablish his power, there's a bit of a struggle for dominance between him and Dottie, the emergent and designated leader, as shown through this clip.
What are you, stupid?
Somebody's got to run the team, Jimmy. You know, someone who actually watches the games.
You're gonna squeeze butt with our best hitter? What's the sign? Swing away. Hey, come on, girl. What's the sign? Swing away.
It's the letters. Infield's deep. The squeeze will work.
Stop thinking with your attention. What, being in here? Batter! Time!
Come on.
Hey, who's the goddamn manager? I am!
Act like you big lush. You fellow Dottie.
You're right.
I'm ready now.
One more!
Oh, good.
Show us something. Put mine.
Okay, so as you can see, Jimmy was able to successfully reestablish his power